And welcome back to 709 Meridian, an audio commentary podcast. We are your hosts, Dee and Andrew.
Hello.
Think about. And we're going to do a special edition here with, we haven't done something animated in a while, so we threw something together here with Under the Red Hood. I think you guys kind of like that one, so we like it. And I don't know, it's just kind of a random thing to follow up our summer of duologies here as a sort of buffer into the fall season. So why not, right?
Exactly. It's technically Under the Red Hood does have a prequel in the animated Death in the Family, but the animated Death in the Family is a Choose Your Own Adventure DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
And so...
There's multiple endings.
Yes, so while technically... And supposedly if you read the IMDb trivia on that one, it says that there is a canon version available streaming. There's not.
No, there's only one.
Yeah.
The one that recaps Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, which is the
most bogus shit.
So, if you want to do a 80s style home VHS game with that, enjoy. But we're going to be watching Under the Red Hood here, which has maybe my favorite Batman voice casting with Bruce Greenwood, who's able to sort of still bring some emotion to it.
He's not as robotic as certain ones.
Yeah. Or just as plain bad as other ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's some bad Batman voices. All right. Anything else? There's going to be a lot to talk about with Jason Todd and so on, but we can do that during the commentary there.
Yep.
All right, let's hit it. Starting in 3, 2, 1, play.
Oh.
Warner Premiere. Remember when Warner Premiere seemed like it was going to be some shit?
Yeah, thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like here we have the DC movie logo that started after the MCU.
Now, if they did that with the good logo,
mm-hmm.
I would like that a little better.
Yeah.
The bullet point.
Yeah.
All right, here we are. Now, a lot of this is sort of added material to Death in the Family. Originally, Ra's al Ghul had nothing to do with it.
When did the Death in the Family one come out? Because it came out after this, obviously.
Yeah, it came out after this. And they used so much footage from this. It's not even funny.
Okay, so this is 2010. Death in the Family was 2020. So, yeah, they just reused a bunch of footage to put out a little bit of material. The original Death in the Family, of course, was 1988. That is not the Jason Todd Robin costume. That is the Tim Drake Robin costume. Mm-hmm. But Death in the Family was... It got crossover attention for... Was it 88? It was. It was before the movie.
It was like 88, 89.
Yeah, it was before the first movie.
Yeah. It got attention because mainly, first of all, for the call-in stunt.
Yeah.
And then the general public thought that it was Dick Grayson they were killing off.
They thought it was Dick Grayson because nobody you
Nobody
know,
really, they weren't aware that it was.
1988, the Batman the 60s show was probably airing in,
Yeah, it was still on in
if not
syndication.
like 90-minute blocks, it was airing in like an hour long block still in
Yep.
1988, right? Like
Yep.
the sort of Batman in the pop culture, it was the animated series that sort of replaced TV Batman because
Right.
the norm on TV was the animated or the 60s show to the point that they were going to have Adam West come back and get killed off as Thomas Wayne in the movie, right? And he didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing sort of got people's attention a little bit to what was going on in the Batman comics. You then had The Dark Knight, which wasn't a crossover success in any, or like wasn't culturally crossed over in any way, but it did sort of have this like the great quote unquote Batman comic phases. Like there wasn't really one in the late 90s when the movie or late 80s when the movie came out. They were sort of in
Uh-huh.
between things, but there were distinct Batman like entry points there. But Death
Yeah.
in the Family was not an entry point. Death in the Family was like a weird jumping off point
Yeah.
for because the Jason Todd, the pre-crisis, there was a Jason Todd. He had a very lengthy arc about becoming
Yeah.
Robin.
He was
Um,
very much integrated. He wasn't just a toss away.
right. And then post crisis were the really weird Jim Starlin and whoever the artist ones are, where like it's him and Bruce Wayne covered in baby oil working out all the time. It's really fucking weird. Like, it just is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever. But then they kill him off. Batman's lonely for 5 years or whatever. Tim Drake comes in. That the whole like Batman needs a Robin thing, they can say that all they want, but when you don't actually establish the Batman character post crisis or post Death in the Family, it doesn't really matter. And so now Batman, has 40 Robins at a time, right? Like
Mm-hmm. There's like an army of Robins now, kind of.
yes, there's a very strange. Okay, also, in the comic for children, Joker beats him to death with a crowbar.
Yeah.
Joker's kidnapped his mother, and he now beats him to death with a crowbar. Um,
That was as graphic as they'd gotten in the mainstream
yeah,
comics.
and there was some really weird thing where the Dark Knight series, despite being set in the future, supposedly like it didn't mention which Robin it was or something. So
Mm.
people took it as a this is the future of Batman post Death in the Family, but I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
continuity accurate that is or how factual that is. Okay, so oh God, when did Red Hood come back? Was it before or after Bucky?
It might have been around the same time,
Yes,
but it
so
feels like Bucky was around longer.
because Bucky was like 2006. Hold on,
Then
let's
there was the whole
see.
Hush business
Wasn't Hush
where,
supposed to be him, and then they brought him back?
right, it was like
Yeah,
they explained it as Hush disguised himself as Jason or something.
2005. Okay, so that's 2005. Bucky came back in. I think actually Bucky came back after that. Let's see,
Uh,
but like not. I mean, like okay, Judd Winnick, everybody. Judd Winnick also wrote the comics, which would make you think this was um,
huh.
more comic accurate. It's more about getting your paycheck. Here we are in a very Batman the Animated Series Gotham, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bucky came or Jason came back in 2005. There was this Hush limited series where they retconned in some new nemesis for Bruce Wayne, but for a while they thought it was going to be Jason. He was led to believe it was Jason Todd returned to life, but then we find out that Jason Todd was returned to life in the next thing in the Under the Red Hood comic book
Mm-hmm.
arc, I believe. And now Jason Todd is just alive in the current DC universe. He was in the Gotham Knights video game. Um, and then a year later, Marvel brought back Bucky, who had been dead for, 60 years versus 20 or whatever. Um, did Spider Man bring somebody back? No.
Ultimate Spider-Man died at one
Ultimate
point.
Spider Man did die. But then I think there was a joke around the Bucky era where they're like, is Uncle Ben going to be revealed to be
Yeah.
alive
Yeah, I remember
next?
that one.
Like, yeah. And so basically what this is it's a way to get, um, lapsed comic book readers back for curiosity's sake. Like,
Mm.
so it was really funny. I remember when the trailers to Falcon and the Winter Soldier dropped, I like was talking to a Marvel Cinematic Universe familiar but comic book unfamiliar friend, and she had no
Mm.
idea the whole backstory on Bucky. She just assumed that they did the whole thing at the time. I'm like, no, that took them 40 years. That took them 50, 60 years to figure out.
Yeah. Now, what's also interesting to add to Jason's resurrection is that initially it was a part of the Infinite Crisis crossover.
Wait, it was?
Yes. And this is how he came back. Strap in. Um, I gotta do this quick.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, at the end of Crisis, Earth 2 Superman and Superboy Prime and
Lois
Alexander
Lane.
Luthor, they in Lois Lane, they go to Limbo. Limbo is outside of reality. Um, Prior to the beginning of Infinite Crisis, as sort of a kickoff, part of what kicked off Infinite Crisis was Superboy Prime's frustration of not being able to be active as a superhero. So, in that frustration, he punches the walls within where they're being held. These punches cause ripples in reality. And one of these punches was responsible for bringing Jason Todd back to life before the way it's explained here, which is, I guess, supposed to be the set continuity. But
That's right. I
Infinite
forgot
Crisis,
about that.
yeah, the Superboy Prime punch.
I forgot about that. And I remember at
Yeah,
the time being like, no, it's a Lazarus pit, right? That's so fucking stupid. Why are you saying these
exactly.
things? Why are we saying these things?
Okay, Amazo, a Justice League villain that Batman has no business fighting on his own. But
And also in the comics, Amazo's been around since like 1965. So like his backstory
mm-hmm.
is undoubtedly different originally.
Oh,
It is shocking how
oh,
much better this looks than the current outcrop. And even this, you knew they were doing on a budget. Like,
I think this is I'm not. completely sure, but these might be the same guys who did Young Justice.
Okay.
Maybe. I know they did one of the Justice League movies, though. Oh, here we have Nightwing, and one of the crooks there. I guess he's aware that Nightwing was the first Robin.
Yes.
Then also in this sort of out there continuity, there's no Tim, but at this point, you know, in the
Hey,
comics,
there's
Tim had been around for about 15 years.
yeah, and in the whole like oh sorry, everybody, you Terminator joke, but also the comics had a lot of like Dick reacting to Jason being back, but also Tim reacting to Jason being back. So basically, the reason you bring back a character like that is because it gives you years worth of content, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially in that era where they're selling collections and things, like,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd see the exact same thing with Son of the Demon and Bride of the Demon,
Oh man.
and the whole Damien thing, right? Like,
Sure.
it's just the difference was when we were growing up with DC, it didn't feel like they were doing it every 4 years or 3 years, even, right? It felt like
Right.
a momentous thing. But in hindsight, when you look at like just for the benefit of what like I read in the late 80s from DC, there wasn't a lot that like Crisis was going to fuck up. But like
Mm-hmm.
if I were a Legion reader, holy shit, let's look at the as tough
Yeah,
as we can get. Yeah.
Legion fans should have been frustrated, especially that sort of late '80s, early '90s run.
Yeah.
Jesus, 5 years later, God. And then Zero Hour.
Zero Hour was the one where that was sort of they tried to do it all in place, which
Yeah, Zero Hour was like Crisis Junior.
it's just like but Zero Hour was the first one where they were like, we're going to fix our problems like this. And then that just
Mm-hmm.
became the norm, which is not something Marvel has ever done on a regular basis. Like at this point, DC appears to be looking at bringing some of the absolute universe into the regular universe. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
part of the bit to be a DC fan these days is
Well, all in.
apparently right. Apparently, yes, all in, no critical thinking required. Um, helps with DC movies too. But it is, liking this idea of the universe resets, but that's fine. But if you never actually, it is also giving up, like your story being about being in a multiverse gives up the idea that there's anything else that can be important in your story or anything else to it, which I think there's a good argument that they've run the well on Batman on that in particular. Like until they're willing
Yeah,
to make some real observations about Batman, there's nothing to do. Like
no, it's just they're going through emotions with Batman. Batman ought to just have its own label, its sub label in DC.
Batman comics. BC. DC BC. Batman Comics, DC Comics, and then they'd call it BCDC, and everybody would be like, "No, but
CDC.
that stands for Batman." You can't just say BC. You can't just keep saying the same things over and over again.
Oh, but then we could have BC, DC, GC, PD.
Ooh.
Oh,
Okay. This is kind of the thing with, and this is for me because I just read, relatively speaking, just read the Ed Brubaker Catwoman series again. And the whole thing is about how, like, they're just like, well, Batman doesn't actually care about poor people, so I get to do whatever I want on the East End because he would otherwise let them die. And they're like, that's the dialogue we're saying out loud right now. And it's just like, hey, maybe if Batman had just listened to Red Hood, it wouldn't be this terrible fucking. It's just like,
mm-hmm.
hopefully, I don't know. Does the Oh my god, I can't even remember the new one. Was there a costume villain in the new one? It was
What?
Riddler, right? In the
Pattinson's? Yeah, Riddler,
Yeah,
but his costume was
he was.
different.
Yeah, it was an '80s TV serial killer in a.
Mm-hmm.
It was Black Scorpion levels of costume design there. Um,
Oh, we also gotta point out some other fellers that are doing some voices in this. That's Doogie Howser himself, Neil Patrick Harris is Nightwing.
did he
Um,
ever come back for it?
I don't think he ever came back. And of course, everybody's favorite soldier boy, Jensen Ackles, as Jason, a very grown masculine Jason.
Right.
I still like the live action Jason, though.
Yeah.
There's so much they could do with that kid. All right, so we're on a trip to Arkham.
It's time for a Joker appearance, I believe.
Mm-hmm. See, I didn't mind when they did the DC movies like this.
No. Because, like, they're. Yeah. Again,
Well, there
maybe
didn't
I.
need to be a continuity with them
No,
unless
they
it was,
didn't. Yeah.
to me, unless there was like an actual, I don't know, if they had just had a Justice League show still, you know,
Right.
that sort of loosely tied to all of these movies, that would have been fine. But they did at one point, but it wasn't, you know, wasn't connected to anything, and it only ran for I think a year. I think it was called Justice League Action, and it just came and went. But at this point, there was just one Batman show ends and they started another one. I mean, it was just Batman's everywhere.
Yeah, they had the Batman. They had, or was it Enter the
Yeah,
Batman or whatever that
there
was
was the
called?
Batman, and there was Beware the Batman,
Brave and the
Batman Brave and the
Bold.
Bold. Yeah, they just came one after another, and then you have that. Then you have Scooby Doo with Batman, and it just it didn't end, and that's where DC kind of shot themselves in the foot. I mean, Batman's a cash cow, no doubt, but they got other shit going on. What I'm trying to say is Suicide Squad just wasn't the way to go.
Oh God, especially
But
not
they,
with
yeah, It just, eh.
Well, also, yeah, I mean, the problem with DC is that they haven't had if they've had good ideas, they've gotten lost in the shuffle. But really, what we're talking about with the rearranging the deck chairs to, focus on keep Batman prime and center or whatever, that did start in 0 hour, right? Like 96 or so, things had gotten kind of out of
Well,
control.
well, no, Zero Hour cleaned up shit for like 5 minutes. Like there was a set Legion, you know, there was a lot of the spin-offs that came out of it, and then nobody liked the spin-offs. Like
Right.
there was they really wanted to launch Justice League at one point, and they had what was it? Extreme Justice
Mm-hmm.
and God damn, what was the other one? I think Europe was still around for a
Yeah.
while, and then they had they had Justice League Task Force.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I mean, there was a lot. The '90s, hands down for DC, was a lot of Marvel clout chasing, and then there was Image, that kind of rubbed it in their face too because uh, Liefeld at one point was supposed to take over Titans.
Because he started on some Titans.
Yeah,
He did like an
he was gonna
annual
do
back in the
Titans.
day, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
Hawk and Dove, he started he might did he start at DC maybe even
I think,
like
yeah,
yeah.
probably because he did a lot of Hawk and Dove. McFarlane did Hawk and Dove, I think, too,
Yeah. And then
and they just could never make them happen.
no. So following 0 hour in approximately 96, this was so 0 hour sort of was the next big thing after they tried to milk Death of Superman for years, it feels
Right,
like.
because the Death of Superman sort of sparked its own subgenre where, again, the '90s was they were trying to rebuild DC with like a new imagery. I don't know how to explain it, but Death of Superman, from that came what? Batman's back getting broke.
Yep. We had
Uh,
Nightfall. Yep.
Nightfall, Wonder Woman died, Green Arrow died. For a while, they switched to Flash. So it was some sort of a weird kind of, can't say rebranding, but they were trying to change the face.
And that's what yeah, and they had sort of done that with the Flash post crisis, with the relaunch of the Perez relaunch of Wonder Woman. They
Mm-hmm.
they really leaned into that stuff. And I wonder if some of it isn't just that like the Death of Superman went from like I think there are even stories about how it was supposed to be wrapped up in like a summer or something, and
Yeah.
instead it was popular because the main like Entertainment Weekly, another Warner Brothers publication, picked it up and like gave it enough legitimacy that like they couldn't be like, yeah, he's going to be back in a couple weeks. This was just a cash grab for this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so it turned into this years long thing. Then we get 0 hour to clean up some of the other stuff. Well, we had the back breaking Batman in there where Azrael was just like, it was the concept that you could do a giant Batman crossover,
Right.
which then became the norm as well, would
Mm-hmm.
lead to War Games, which is when they kill off the girl Robin that they just
Oh
introduced to
yeah.
bring in the girl Robin. But then it just all sort of, it just, with DC much more than Marvel, which is hilarious because this was what the shit Marvel got in the 80s, was that you had to buy all the annuals to follow the
Yeah.
story or
Follow the
whatever.
actual story.
Instead, DC, who for years was trying to get away from the idea that you had to read 4 Batman comics a month and 3 Superman comics a month, instead just made it so you had to do all that because they're just like, we have determined we have X amount of readers who will never jump ship. And if we can just bring on some more of those types of readers, it'll be fine. And when comics were 75 cents, 80 cents, that's all right. But when they're fucking $4 a pop or whatever,
Yeah. Mm-mm.
and I mean, the fact of the matter is when you charge less for comics in the modern economy, the cost saving you're doing is on writing, editing, and art, which is what you read comics for. Writing,
Mm.
editing, and art, right? Like they're cheaping out on the production value. Like it's
Yeah.
very it makes it hard to like get enthusiastic because at any point we've learned DC or Marvel will cancel a series in the middle of a story arc, and they've always done this, but it's just it's difficult today because it seems like they should have better market research, better idea, like especially since in theory comic books
Mm-hmm.
could have a subscription only release to certain titles,
Yeah.
like sort of a Kickstarter for mainstream stuff, and they never lean on that. It's very weird what they do and don't lean on with their readership, and it's always like from a slightly contemptuous point of view from a
Mm-hmm.
business angle. But I also did want to mention some of the things that were going on in the Batman and Superman offices in the aughts and early 2010s
Mm.
is just like really toxic workplace culture.
Yeesh.
And it's really funny because they do a terrible job and they're just fucking her off being dickheads, right? Like, maybe if they weren't such dickheads, it would have gone better. Hey, look, Tim Drake's dead. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. What?
The costume designed by shit. Was it
I think
Bob?
that was the Neil Adams one.
No, because the Tim Drake
No, Neil Adams
costume.
did the original Tim Drake.
No, he did the original art, but somebody from the movies. Didn't
No,
somebody from
it was Neil Adams.
No? It was Neil
Yeah,
Adams. Oh god, Neil Adams so good.
because they asked him to design it for the movie, and they, of course,
Oh
they didn't use
yeah.
it, but they
No.
made the figure. They made the figure for the Batman Returns
Yeah.
collection.
So this is not what the post-crisis Jason Todd would have been like.
No, he was very well. They're gonna kind of
Are they going to bring it
seek
in?
into that. Yeah,
Okay. Um, but
but
he
he
was
wasn't.
not an acrobat.
No, he wasn't an acrobat. He was more of a brawl. Here we go. Vicious.
And look, his costume he's grown up into a
Yeah,
bad Robin.
he's wearing Tim's suit, or
Yeah.
kind of a mix of Tim's suit in the comic and Tim's suit on the Batman Adventures, which is, we got to mention that in that last
Oh,
season,
that's right.
they brought in Tim Drake, but he more or less had Jason Todd's origin. So it's very odd they did that. But Tim largely gets ignored in these movies and stuff. He was in Young Justice, but again, he was a very minor character.
It's very weird because the weight of the Batman comic franchise was put on Tim Drake in 1992 or whatever,
Right. And
93.
now he
Very
gets,
strange.
he gets put in this weird. And the same thing for Connor. There's no reason why there should be two Superboys.
DC's lost their ability to commit to legacy heroes or whatever, right? Like that was their whole
Yeah,
thing post crisis was this is, Barry Allen's dead forever. We forgot to mention Barry Allen came
Barry
back
Allen.
after
Yep,
it after some teases.
Barry
And
Allen came
then
back.
Hal came back first, I
Al,
guess, would be the first
and
one
then
where
Ollie Green Arrow
that's
eventually came
right,
back.
Ollie came back. So they really had just committed to this legacy hero thing and then they uncommitted to it, right? They
Oh,
took it back.
that's right. They had killed Wonder Woman at one point, but even before that, they had replaced her with Artemis
With
for a
Artemis,
while.
yes.
Yeah. And then there was Diana comes back for a minute, and then she's killed off and replaced with her mother for like a little while, and somehow they bring Diana back. And it's later on that Donna Wonder Girl Troy takes over for her briefly, and then they switch back. So,
Wonder Woman's such a weird mess because, like, the thing about comics that pre-internet, right? So pre anybody sort of being able to figure out what's going on in Wonder Woman pretty easily without like reading Wonder Woman comics is for long stretches of time in the 80s and 90s, strips would just have long runs with people that went sort of on their own and like were really distinct, like Wonder Woman, the killer diplomat. Remember that? The Greg Rucka
mhm.
thing? That ran for like 40 issues, right? Like, and so when somebody else takes over the book, they want to make a bunch of changes to it because when you take over the book, it's theoretically you're not going to lose a significant number of your existing readers, and any you lost you would make up in your new readership.
The thing I mostly don't like in DC is that a lot of their books become beholden to status quo.
Oh,
They won't. It's like they killed Alfred, and I don't know if he's back yet, but he's been dead for a while. If he's still gone, and though, eventually he'll come back. They'll bring him back, and they just won't. That they're a little scared to mix it up a little unless it comes with some sort of perk, like with making John Kent, you know, a 19-year-old now. They had to do something else with him in order to sort of justify why he's older instead of just letting him be a kid.
right. I mean, I
But
think
it's just at an odd position, though. He boxes out. Connor now in a big way.
Connor, who should be 30 years
Yeah,
old at this point, right? Like,
yeah. But I think they still go with the he because he's a clone
okay.
and half Kryptonian. He doesn't age like you know. Because at one point they said he couldn't age past 16, but now I don't know if they changed it.
I think we just got lucky in the 80s with DC and didn't realize it.
Well, yeah, because they had a lot of creative shit going on in the
Yeah.
80s. There's a stark difference between like the 80s and 90s DC. It's almost jarring to read, you know.
But also, like, the Marvel had the 70s, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so the 80s Marvel was very sort of safe in certain
Hmm.
ways, whereas 70s Marvel had not been.
Right.
Um, Same thing with DC. DC
Yeah,
80s.
80s is just you had a variety of shit. You had your space shit with Green Lantern and Legion. Then you had what they did with Justice League eventually. And you had your Batman, and then Superman was like, for a while, Superman was kind of hard science fiction, for some of those.
Mm-hmm.
And it just there were other things like Titans was kind of the more I don't know to be their standard superhero book, and
Which
then
is a wild thing to have, and it's something that a place that Titans should. I
yeah,
don't know how they ever gave that up, that spot up. How they ever lost that
because they were
spot.
Titans was the first time, at least I figure, that they gave the characters individual personalities like that. Like outside the Titans, the only characters that had any real personality were probably Green Arrow and Hawkman because of the political shit. But
Right.
that's what sort of defined their characters. But in Titans, there was a time though early on where fucking Wally West was a goddamn MAGA. Like
I forgot about that. Yeah.
used to go off on Red Star all the time, and he was really dubious about Starfire for a minute.
Whereas Marvel took place. Yeah, I mean, DC took place in an undefined universe very similar to our own, right? Whereas
Right? Yeah,
Marvel would have its
because
own president or something.
Marvel had their own president. We actually had like
Right,
there
the
were issues
president.
where
Reagan
fucking
shows up,
Reagan
yeah.
showed up. Yeah,
And so that would change in the early aughts, sort of post 9/11 Iraq War. We finally did the Lex for President arc where
yeah,
Jeff Johns could seem like he was doing something. So, but I mean, that was part of the constraints because 80s DC, like 80s Metropolis was just a city. John Byrne's Superman, Man of Steel Metropolis is just a
hmm,
really fucking beautiful city. It didn't
yeah,
get futuristic till the
yeah. Until
90s.
2000 and 90s,
And like,
bridges and shit flying around, and
and that was partially from the cartoon, even
yeah,
like, and
hmm,
then um same with Gotham. There was a whole thing where the new sort of permanite city, night, New York, basically,
yeah.
just
It was
all
beat
New
down.
York.
Yeah, it was a beat down New York.
There's a like some sort of like it's not the earthquake yet, but there was some reason that the old buildings come up designed by Anton first or whatever. Like they did a
Mhm.
bunch of shit to make it more like the movie. So what the thing about DC is that they always were trying to they always made it seem like the movies were independent of their decisions, but the movies starting with Batman the movie
Oh
in
yeah, Batman
89
influenced a lot
it all and they
because
didn't
that
do
was
that with Superman. They didn't do that with like Swamp Thing, right? Like
the TV shows like Superboy specifically.
yes, but that was
They
also
did a
around the
lot of
same
night
time.
shooting. Yeah, they did a lot of night shoots, and they tried to make it darker. The Flash
The Flash,
definitely.
big time.
Uh,
Um,
Swamp Thing, Swamp Thing seemed like it was half doing its own thing and then half
yeah,
sort of, trying the later episodes, anyways, because it became almost an anthology after I think the writers just got sick of the main story. So they just kind of made it more like the comic later on,
but
where Swamp Thing would just show up, whenever.
this was new for them because
Yeah.
outside of super well even Supergirl the movie didn't affect that Supergirl the New Adventures of Supergirl comic that got canceled because of Crisis because she died in
Yeah.
Crisis, but like
Mhm.
DC didn't make any big shit. Superman the movie saved DC Comics, yes, but they did not make any big shifts to like
No,
bring people in from that, and it's like
it wasn't until
the
later, I think, when Donner was writing them, that they brought over the like crystal
yeah, they brought that into
Krypton.
and that's like 2004, right? Like
Mm,
that's really late. That's 25 years.
yeah, so that was the
Um,
run where who was it? Fucking Gary Frank. Got to tip my
yeah,
hat to him
yeah,
for he brought Christopher Reeve to comics.
yeah, he did. And that's a really weird moment in time that they did this, where they were like, no, Superman's based on the Christopher Reeve Superman in
Yeah,
certain ways. He'll still be in the Legion of Superheroes, but
mm-hmm. He looked
so
like Christopher Reeve.
and then their ally and friend, okay, Jesus fucking Christ, calm down, Bruce. Go to therapy, Bruce Wayne. Um,
Right, smile a little, Bruce.
so, um, but just sort of not exactly. There you have it. His undecomposed corpse is in there. What, Alfred? You fool! What are you talking about, Alfred?
Damn it, it's a dummy.
I would be really concerned about Alfred right now that he was like undecomposed corpse. Maybe it is in the cartoon universe. That's what decomposed looks like. Anyway, but yeah. So DC's issue of not sort of being able to, they're just pulled in too many directions at once.
Yeah, they get
And
over their heads after the it's always sometime after the reboots
yeah,
where they
New
just throw too
52.
much. Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you guys do? Well, that was the other thing they did. And New 52, was it just called 52? Yeah. They did a weekly anthology book. DC had been trying to do anthology books since forever. They used to do them, right? In the 70s, they could sell an anthology book.
Yeah.
It was very hard
They
to
did.
sell them in the
It was
80s.
always DC Comics Presents or Action Comics
But no,
had the
remember Action Comics Weekly?
yeah, Action Comics
Yeah.
Weekly. Yep.
And because, yeah, so then that they made last for a year or two, I think. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to read that just out of curiosity's sake. So, they did this thing called the 52, which was a weekly comic because they did it
Oh,
1 year later. Remember that stupid shit where they
right.
jumped ahead a year and then weren't going to
Hmm.
tell us what happened, except you had to read the weekly book, except you
Yeah.
also could read the normal books without reading it because they weren't really making you read. It's just like they want to do so many things, but what they want to do is they want to require people to buy as many comics as possible,
Yep.
which that's not exactly Marvel's thing. Yes, Marvel makes a bunch of fucking Deadpool, Wolverine comics or whatever, but they don't actually say you have to read all of
No,
them
you
to
don't
get the
have to read
full
them because
story.
a lot of them are just one shots, and then you
It's
can read them if they refer to them in another story.
it's
That's
just
what
like
I like that Marvel does.
yeah,
They do that a lot too. Like they'll have a story going on in one book, like Avengers, and Spider-Man will say some shit, and yeah, they'll have the little caption. Yeah,
yeah.
you'll understand this if you read this, this, and this. So yeah,
But if you don't give a shit about Spider-Man, you don't have to.
yeah, you don't have to follow it.
But that's not explaining why Jason Todd is back with a and he's this fucking Green Lantern now. Like
Mm.
so, but then with New 52, they were like, well, we got to do 52 series. And here's the thing nobody was doing 52 comics, monthly comics at that point or something. And so they just didn't have the money for it and they didn't have the attention and they just had bad people doing it. And it's just like, but they went all in. It's all in. It's always all in. And then you just sort of have,
Yeah, but now I want to see what their "we don't give a shit" approach will.
yeah, that's what all in means.
Okay, something that should never ever
I
happen.
know. I'm like, when did Ra's al Ghul and the Joker finally meet in comics? Was it in like the 90s or something? Or no,
I think.
2000s? It must have been some desperate moment.
Well, they were a part of the secret society, I think, at
That's
one point.
right. That's right.
But it's never consistent who's a part of that and who. All I know is that at the end of Infinite Crisis, that's what kills Alexander Luthor. Is that he didn't let Joker in on the whole big plan or something, and then Joker finds him and kills him.
Yes, the Joker as one of the elements of the chaos element. That is one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that DC really needed to not do.
Right, because he
Starting with
doesn't fit
Emperor
with
Joker.
any of the broader, plans that the villains usually have. Because Joker doesn't give a shit. All
Yeah.
right, so in this version and the official version of the comics, Jason is brought back via the Lazarus Pit, as opposed to punching his way out of his own grave because Superboy Prime resurrected him.
Did they ever do a Son of the Demon movie or no?
The animated one.
Yeah.
They did Batman and Son, or Son of Batman.
Okay. But not like
Not
pre.
the actual Son of the Demon, though. No,
Okay.
which
That's too bad.
would have been kind of cool
Yeah.
because
Batman
it
is
wasn't a bad story.
no. Batman is James Bond in the was
Mm-hmm.
originally what they were sort of doing in the 80s post
Yeah,
Jason Todd death and it was fine. Batman as James Bond works a lot better than Batman as
just the overprotective defender of Gotham.
the militarized Batman thing that they have just like
Especially
got a
since,
hard on for.
and we had talked about this before, where Gotham has so many heroes, especially at this point, where it shouldn't be a problem place at
Right.
all.
Well,
I mean, it shouldn't at least be as corrupt as it is.
right. Mm. The sort of thoughtlessness. So, like, Metropolis doesn't usually have, like, a personality. Metropolis can be Boston,
Yeah,
California. It's fine.
yeah, it's always
Um,
the city on the move.
but when they make the secret history of Gotham the sort of integral to Batman's origin now, all these stupid fucking things, and then it's just like not well done. It's really kind of it's frustrating, I guess. Like
Hmm.
it's just like they never can figure Gotham out for whatever reason. Even
No.
when they had the too strong Batman editorial at DC. And part of
Mm-hmm.
that is because you're trying to. Well, part of that is because I wasn't that the one where the guy was a piece of shit. No, that was Super. Whatever. Um, but you're trying to bring in all these weird fucking elements. You're trying to bring in a James Bond. Christopher Lee is a James Bond villain, right? Like in a fucking Italian James
Mm-hmm.
Bond movie villain, right? Then you're trying to bring in the street, and we see this with, you can actually, oh, why didn't we did we already do
Hmm.
shit, we did Batman and, we did those two other Batmen, those two good ones, right?
Which ones?
The Kung Fu and the
No,
Horror?
we haven't done
I just
Soul of
watched.
the Dragon.
We haven't done
You
those.
watched them.
I watched
Yeah, we
them,
haven't done
but we
them.
haven't done
Yeah.
them. Okay, we should do those sometime. But
Mm-hmm.
just like the thing about this vibe of the DC universe movie was they were just gonna do different stories with vaguely different styles and things like that.
Yeah.
And what it let them do is it let them take the best from continuity from all the stories and cut off the rest and not worry about it as much. Whereas, with the fucking movies, with the TV shows, they always are they have to lay the groundwork for Batman Part 7, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they feel that way now, which if they felt that way with the Burton Schumacher series, they really hit it well because they made really bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you think about Batman and Robin,
Oh God.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm surprised Gotham never became you know, they never turned Gotham into Boys Town in the comics for a while. The neon shit and all that.
yeah. But at that point, you then have like this weird disconnect between I mean, fucking A, you could tell with Batman Forever that Schumacher's production design stuff was going to go bad. But like, if you haven't seen Batman and Robin for a while, like that shit looks like
Oh God. The wobbly plastic ice.
it looks so terrible. It's so weird
It's
because it's
cartoon.
like,
It almost makes you believe that maybe that is the way Gotham from the first Batman turned out. That everybody just kind of lost their fucking mind. Oh, and this is not definitely not Mark Hamill as
no, this is
Joker.
John
John DiMaggio.
DiMaggio, who I I understand that they didn't want Mark Hamill to always do the Joker voice, but at the same time,
Hmm.
I think they should have just had Mark Hamill always do the Joker
Yeah.
voice. Like,
Well, he had a thing though for a while too. Though he said he wouldn't do it unless
oh, that's
Conroy was
right. He
Batman.
had to do it with Conroy. That's right.
I don't know when he implemented that, but and Ackles is Jason Todd. Uh, I have no big complaints other than he probably would have been better off voicing another character.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Neil Patrick Harris did voice work. Greenwood probably narrated a fuck ton of Canadian documentaries, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so you get just the Greenwood Batman. Did he ever
Yeah,
come back other than Death in the Family?
not to the movies. He did do Young Justice, so
Okay.
I was so glad he was on Young Justice.
Like, no, this one's just a good one. Like, that's just all
Mm-hmm.
that there is. Like, this has a bunch of good fucking action sequences. Like, it's got a good scale. You get the
Yeah,
Batwing. Like,
it's a good movie.
yeah,
A Batman movie.
yeah.
Like it's kind of sucks that it is animated.
What Batman really needs more than maybe any other property is it actually needs a TV show.
Mm.
They need to try with a live action Batman.
Yeah, but nothing that's some sort of like Gotham.
Nope.
They
You
need something. It's Batman, not
you
he disappeared or
nope. You need to do like you need to have somebody who's really good at making TV shows turn like Long Halloween into a fucking Batman
right.
show. And that's your first season or two seasons. You flesh it out, do whatever you need to do, and you see if that can do some sort of a reset because the supporting cast,
Mm.
so much of Batman's story is about the people around him, the characters around him.
Right. That's why he can afford to be
Yeah,
this sort of static character because Batman never really has any character growth.
no. And there's some great fucking Legends of the Dark Knights about that. The one
Oh yeah.
where Crystal or no Silver St. Cloud comes back. It was one of the late ones. It was Bruce Jones and Ariel Olivetti. So very weird. But
Mm.
she's like, wait a second, you're a virgin, aren't you? And he's like, I am. And she's like, you're just a 13-year-old boy. And he's like, yes. Look at my toys. And it's like, I mean, it's done better than that or whatever. But it's just like
Mm-hmm.
the character's incredibly like limited
Yeah.
because they just refuse to commit to anything. Like the whole marriage of Batman and Catwoman, I was like, if they don't do it, it's the stupidest thing ever. And they don't do it
Right.
because he just can't, whatever. And I was
Can't
like,
stop
you
doing
could have
any of that.
said that in the first. That was always the problem. It never
Yeah.
was getting resolved. This is so stupid. But it's like they haven't done this stupid thing. But it's just like, was that like the longest courtship comic book thing? Because Spider Man and Mary Jane got married really quick,
Yeah.
at least in the
Well, that was
comic.
kind of a yeah. They were that was an event thing that they were really pushing at the time.
But the build
Remember,
up
because that was
for it, yeah, but the build up for it was
yeah, a lot of it was,
the comic strip or whatever. Did,
especially when she confesses that she knows he's Spider-Man.
yeah,
It came out of nowhere.
wearing this fucking mask like a.
That's
How does he know who it is? You can't tell who somebody is in a Zorro mask. Come on. Um, I
his
think that
haircut.
didn't the Superman marriage, which
That
also was because of the show,
yeah, that
didn't
sort of
that have some build up too?
yeah,
But the
because that was around the
Batman,
time I think he lost his powers or something.
yeah, the Batman Catwoman thing, like they spent a fucking year on that, and I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If you don't, it's like, frankly, it's like what the problem that presented Bendis on Ultimate Spider-Man is: if you kill off Ultimate Gwen Stacy, you're just painting by numbers. Some city killed
Mm.
off Peter Parker. Uh,
She did die.
did she die?
She died, and they brought her back
Because she was
because she
Venom
became Carnage. Or
or
yeah,
Carnage or something. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
but still, I mean, they didn't do the thing. They were able to not
no,
do the thing.
because people like Ultimate Gwen.
Yeah. The problem is just that Marvel or DC always does the thing, basically, at a certain point. They just can't resist, like you said. They have
Yeah, they love their status quo.
to some degree, that's important for them because, when they have to sell off all the pieces, people will know what they're buying.
That's why I wonder. I really wonder if they're gonna. Well, then again, I doubt they're gonna go much further with the DC movies.
If
This doesn't feel like
this
it's gonna be a thing.
Supergirl is what they imply it's going to be, I think even in the fucking shithole reality we're in, I don't think we're there yet.
No,
I don't think
Superman
our,
didn't do it for everybody.
well, just like in the post Barbie
Yeah.
sort of pop culture, I don't think we can go back to Gossip Girl, Supergirl, the way they
Mm-mm.
think that's going to play. Oh, and there comes the whole question of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
How can
Right? How can he let the Joker live after all the shit he's done?
I'm Jed Winnick wrote those lines for Mark Hamill? Just going to say it out loud.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um,
This might actually be the best thing Joe Lennick has done at all.
I mean, he did that really weird Green Arrow that nobody like.
Look, he did. He brought John Walsh from America's Most Wanted into The Outsiders
Oh God, did he do the
for
New 52 Outsiders?
no, he did.
Oh, that was before. That was before. Okay.
Right, it was before the one where clearly he just hated Arsenal because he like took him out after the first few issues and replaced him with Huntress. They just made Arsenal look like a jackass, like because he was supposedly getting info from Batman, but it turns out it was actually Deathstroke, and it was like the villains were making moves to do something. It was a lead up to one of the crossovers.
Did Winnick write any of the TV show for Teen Titan for Titans or no?
I don't think so.
That's the other thing about. I mean, that's the other thing about DC. It's what we've been saying is they will commit to ideas that are not good ideas and be stuck with them. Like they make really bad calls and stick with them at times.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I like that animation where he caught the gun.
Hey, where's Nightwing?
Right. Well, he's still injured, I think.
Oh, that's right.
It's just wild they did all this and completely avoided Tim.
Mm-hmm.
And then their next move was introduce Damien. So Tim never existed in any of the, I don't think any of the movies.
I've seen The Dark Knight. I don't believe in the no-win scenario. Goth-loving marksman. Like,
Oh,
20 seconds? Like, why would you do it with 20 seconds? This is so stupid. Like,
yeah. Should have been an insta kill. Mm.
is it the cape? All right. Yep. Oh, shit, he didn't. Okay.
Mm.
I thought he, like, saves. I thought we were going to get a. He saves them both. Why does the Joker look like Michael Madsen or something? Like, very interesting. Like, they just. Muscly
Mm.
Joker is always such an interesting thing.
Yeah, a brawny looking Joker. I don't care too much for. Well, there's Nightwing doing his thing. Back to work.
Yep. I do think the given just the amount of newscaster um, exposition in
Mm.
DC animated movies across the decades, they really should have had a couple standard. You should have a Casey Wong of Gotham City that
Oh
we've
yeah,
had for
yeah.
30 years. Like,
Or like the Batman show, Summer Gleason. Or yeah, some continuity like that. So Alfred hadn't aged at all.
that's why I didn't think the corpse was weird. Because Alfred's been in the Ra's al Ghul's feeding Alfred
Lazarus pudding.
Lazarus pudding or Lazarus tea, and Alfred can't tell the difference because he's British.
Mm,
That's concerning, kid. That's
yeah.
concerning, but also a really good fucking ending. So yeah, so
Yeah, that's Under the Red Hood, and the Martella brothers played young and older Jason Todd. What you call it? The older one is
Chris,
God, what's the kid's name? Chris. Yeah, everybody hates Chris. The fuck is the kid's name on the show? Greg. He's Greg on Everybody Hates Chris. Vincent Martella. And I think they brought both of them back for Death in the Family, but that might have actually just been
yeah,
audio from this. So, well, yeah, this was a good one. And definitely the way the DC movies should have gone. I wasn't even that mad about Justice League Gods and Monsters because it was its own thing. So,
yeah, they really. I don't know. They well, again, I mean, DC's been flung around as a Warner Brothers
it's an
property.
offshoot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they've gone through quite a bit of things, but this was the period where at least they had a good idea for how they were going to approach the movies. Versus, and like the movies that are the biggest disappointments are the ones like, for me, New Frontier, because
Mm.
they refused until Dark Knight Returns to do anything more than a 90-minute story.
Mm.
And like something like this is only 75 and they do it right quick because it's Batman, it's simple, we don't have any subplots, we can do this. Right? Like, but
Mm.
then when you try to do something where you are trying to make a bigger swing, didn't they do like a Wonder Woman based on the Perez stuff? Or no?
There was a Wonder Woman, yeah, and then there was one called Blood and Gods yeah, or something.
Was that
The
based on?
first one was pretty good,
Yeah, the first
but
one was good. That was the one with Rosario Dawson, right?
yeah, and then the second one, yeah, it's the one where she fights Medusa towards the end or
But
something like that.
yeah, so it was just like the whole idea was DC has a bunch of story arcs we can do stuff with. And you don't need a 3 hour movie, but you do need to be willing to give it, 105 minutes if you need it, right? Like,
Yeah,
you just need to be willing to take the time to do the story. And they sort of, you know, there were some ups
yeah,
and downs, but
I don't like how they ask the audience to double dip and buy two. They always split these into two, and it's not necessary.
yeah. They just sort of needed to be willing to find a happy medium. And sometimes it works out, like with this one, but other times it does not. Um,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So we'll have to come back to the DC animated well on occasion because I had
Yeah.
forgotten that we didn't do actually record any episodes for those two things. We just watched them.
Hmm.
But yeah, because there's a lot actually. With
Yeah, I like what's it called? I like Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. Public Enemies was okay. Crisis on Earth 2 was okay, even though what's his name sucked as Batman. It was one of the Baldwins, I think.
Oh God.
Yeah. What else? Trying to think. Justice League War was okay. And those are the ones they got in, I think, just before they did the new 52 universe.
Right.
I forget which one started that. I think it might have been Batman and Son, or Son of Batman.
It sounds even worse at knowing now what the
Mm-hmm.
having
That's the
seen
one
some of
where,
the Tuniverse, 52 universe.
yeah, that's the one where we're supposed to believe that little Damian Wayne is bad enough to take out Deathstroke. So, yeah.
I mean, remember when Lucas was like, no, people wanted to see Yoda kicking ass? Maybe people do want to see a fucking 7-year-old murder child
Yeah,
as
just
Robin.
beating up badass adults.
No,
I don't.
on the other hand, Robin could have just David could have just been like, "Hey, there's some of my friends there's that girl I know from school," and Deathstroke would have been, "Wait, what?" And then he could have,
Right? Yeah, he could have took him out.
uh,
What is she? 13? Yes.
well, actually, I'm yeah, the dark secrets of DC Comics.
Yeah, freak boy, fucking villains.
Uh, just so many of them.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, all right, folks. Don't leave on that note. Go check out Under the Red Hood if you're.
Yeah, check out Under the Red Hood. It's one of the best ones. We'll probably, yeah, like you say, we'll be dipping here and there with the animated movies,
Yeah.
because DC's output, at least there's something to choose from. I rewatched a couple of the fucking Marvel ones, and they're god awful.
Yeah, the Marvel ones are something special.
Like I can't even think of one that I actually, other than what? No, actually, I don't think any of them are that good. The Avengers, Ultimate Avengers suck. Um, Punisher, Black Widow is, Hulk versus is kind of mid. Young Avengers, I don't think I've seen that one,
I saw
but
Planet
yeah,
Hulk. I can't.
yeah, Planet Hulk, that one was okay. Wasn't great, but it was okay.
Yeah, and I never got around to the Iron Man or the Doctor Strange. For a second, it appeared like Marvel was doing its animated movies as flyers for,
Yeah, whatever was coming out.
yeah, just to get some awareness out there.
Because they did a weird one, that weird CG one with Hulk and Iron Man.
Yeah. But I never got around to watching any of them because
No,
it wasn't.
it's just not.
Remember when wasn't like Punisher Black Widow supposedly in the MCU continuity? Isn't there one that's supposed to have been in MCU and then they were like, no, it fucking isn't? Like,
Yeah, there is one that's supposed to be. I can't remember which one
it
though.
was one of the, yeah, but and they were like, no, it fucking isn't. Shut up. Like
I think they
Hulk
tried to.
Daredevil or something. Like, no.
Yeah, it might have been. There's more than one Doctor Strange, I think. And I think one of them was supposed to be. Or for the Iron Man ones, I know they got a sound alike
Maybe it
for
was
a
an
couple of
Iron
those.
Man one or something, yeah, but they were like, no, it fucking isn't. Shut up. It's not in the same continuity, no.
Because there
Because it
was the one
was,
guy, they kept hiring the sound alike for everything because he was Iron Man on one of the Avengers shows.
okay. Well, unfortunately, that Spider Man who was, since Tom Holland is doing an American accent, that they can easily replace him with the Spider Man, but then that kid turned out to be just a piece of little shit. So guess nobody cares about your friendly neighborhood Spider Man. Duh. Like
Wait,
anyway,
which one? Not
yeah, the little one,
hmm,
the
the
new
newest one,
one,
right?
the newest
Oh
one.
shit.
Yeah, yeah, that one's a little
Hmm.
turd.
I don't think I've not even seen one episode of that shit.
Nobody gives a shit. It's fucking
Hmm.
hilarious.
Hmm.
I don't know. Like, I don't think it's popular. Like,
Well, they shot it down anyways before it because of the Osborns are black, right?
are they?
I think they are in that one, and that's
Okay.
what everybody was just bitching and moaning about. It's too woke. So they just ditched it all together, you know.
Well, once they took it out of
Yeah, once
Prime
they,
Universe continuity, it's
yeah,
like, who gives a shit? Then,
because yeah, it was supposed to be right the early days of Holland, I think.
yeah, and they could have done a Degrassi cartoon or something. It would have been fine. Okay? Like, that would have been fine. It would have been on point for the audience and whatever. But instead, no, they had to bump it to, like, is Marissa Tomei even on it? Like,
I don't think so.
you can't tell me Marissa Tomei doesn't want to earn some money talking into a smartphone, recording lines into a smartphone. Come on now. She is not.
Yeah, she's not that busy.
No. All right. Well, gross. Sorry. Just really. All right, folks, I'll just say it. She dated Logan Marshall Green for 4 years, and I just was like, gross. Like, what?
Oh, is that fake Tom Hardy?
Yeah, she dated fake Tom Hardy, and I'm like, why would you have dated fake Tom Hardy, Marissa Tomei? You could do so much better. Real Tom Hardy, not Tom Hardy. There's all sorts of options besides that guy who Ridley Scott subjected us to. Okay, well, that'll do it for Under the Red Hood. Check it out. We'll be back.
Yes, we shall return this fall with more excitement and commentary and commentating and all that lovely jazz. Stay tuned. We got more shit coming. We just gotta put it all together and figure things out. So stay tuned. Watch some older episodes, huh? There's some good ones. And yeah, that's that for Under the Red Hood, kids. So go outside and play. Stay away from Lazarus pits.
Hello and welcome to 709 Meridian, an audio commentary podcast. My name's Andrew.
And this is D.
And we missed the opportunity to look up how you would say 709 Meridian in Italian, because we are back watching Hercules, The Adventures of Hercules, 1985, also known as Hercules 2, also apparently, according to one movie poster, known as The Adventures of Hercules 2. Now, I did the research, and there is no information about this. According to IMDb, the Cannon cousins they produced it. They just don't have any credit. The release version does not have a Cannon logo. It is, yeah. So this seems very much like the redheaded stepchild, which is hard considering the original Hercules. But this is, we'll look at the credits for the first one, because the opening credits are 8 minutes.
Oh, God.
And replay the previous film, leaving out all of the ladies and all of the details, despite this having...
It's clever editing.
We'll talk about... you can see whether that's clever. If that's the word you want to use. The first one, I stand by. People should watch it and enjoy it for what it is as a relic and such. No, don't watch this, despite the fact that this has some bewildering shit in it. Like,
oh no.
Oh yeah, but it's boring as hell. So,
well, no babies have to fight a spider or snake in this. So
that is true. That is very true. However, no, it's better than that, but it's not. It's very weird. We'll get to it. All right. You ready?
Yes.
All right. Starting in 3,